question I would like to know is there's a brand new album going to be Defend now in April. It's going to be released in France in April. I'd like to know, how do you feel now in the music business? How do you feel the same excitement as Songs of a Devotion?
I think actually we feel more excitement for this album because the last album was after an intense period for us, and the band wasn't necessarily getting on as well as we have done in the past. I think this album, because it nearly didn't get released, because we didn't know if the band could continue, I think in some way this is like our first single again. It's very exciting, and the response we've had to Barrel of a Gun is fantastic.
On Songs of a Devotion, you wanted to get close to more real instruments. I mean, Alan Wilder was on drums, there was guitars on stage. I'd like to know, on this one, do you feel back to the synthesizers much more, close to Violator maybe in the ambience, don't you think?
It's actually, after the event, we noticed that there's probably more guitars on this album than we've ever used. Ambience of the guitar? Yeah, it's more about ambience, really. We don't really... it's not about the type of instrument that we use. I would say there's more electronics. It's more of a kind of balance between the both than Songs of Faith and Devotion. Songs of Faith and Devotion was actually very programmed. It's just that it had the kind of overall effect of appearing
this one's more minimal.
I think the guitar was, made more of on the Songs of Faith and Devotion project. It was, more predominant. This time it's more of a balance.
And we actually used quite a few drummers. We used a friend of Dave's, the guy from Cannes.
Jackie Liebertzeit.
And you chose Tim Simonon for the production, which is well known for kind of dance tracks. So was it difficult? Were you fighting on studio to get the balance right?
He's too cool to fight.
I've prepared my stuff.
Tim just couldn't get enough though.
Yeah, I mean, everything counts really. The thing is, he never let us down, and we did enjoy the silence.
And all we want to do is see him again.
Did he work much more on the bass, maybe on the board, to put the bass very powerful? No, because I think
what Tim helped to bring out in Depeche Mode was a more soulful side of Depeche Mode. That's always been there, I think. It's always been there in Martin's words and melodies and in my voice, but it's more predominant. The vocal melody is very strong with Martin, and I think that's come out a lot more on this record. It has a lot of space around it. It's able to kind of like glide freely rather than sort of be cluttered. On Songs of Faith and Devotion, I think the only song really where that kind of worked was Condemnation, where the vocal, could carry the melody. And I think on this album, it's a very sparse sounding record, really. Even though there's a lot of things going on, it's kind of like, Songs of Faith and Devotion was more bombastic. It was like I was always struggling against the instrumentation. It was a bit of a fight.
And you were rejected in a way the 80s on Songs of Faith and Devotion because it was live ambience in a way. And this one, do you think that we are going back maybe to the 80s ambience? I mean, we are back to maybe techno-pop stuff.
I was thinking more 50s.
It's all about reverb. It's all about reverb. We probably overdid the reverb on Songs of Faith and Devotion, the ambience, that kind of,
There is actually, Tim, it's a good question actually, because Tim, of course, is a very big Depeche Mode fan of old, and I think he actually used quite a few, not of the old sounds, but the feeling of the old sounds on this album. So it's quite a good mixture, really. It was nice to work with someone who really understood our history, as well as the current situation.
It was more of a fan's perspective.
Okay. More of a, I'd like to know how Alan Wilder left the band. So can you tell to the French public, because it's your first interview for this record, why did he left?
The problem was, as soon as he did drumming, we knew it was over. He combusted.
You're going to have a new drummer on stage?
Yeah. Anton Corbijn.
Anton Corbijn, the photograph, is going to play?
He's in training, but we don't know if he can make it or not, if he's going to be good enough.
He did a TV with us last week, and he's doing another one with us this week. It's his dream come true. He's wanting to be in a band for years.
I know he made lots of photos of you. He has a book and Dave, your own picture on it. Yes. Alan, what have you got news from Alan? Is he going to recoil or is he going to play?
We shan't be working with Alan again. It really it's something we really don't want to talk about too much.
Okay, great. So next question. I'd like to know, can you tell in a way what happened really in the last 5 years? Because you've toured worldwide and you make quite a long time to make this record. It means that
It means we all went crazy.
Crazy, yes. The press were very talked a lot about you, Dave, but what really happened. So what was true and what was wrong in a way about what happened?
I think all of us lost the plot, you know. We kind of...
We still have, really.
You know, went a little insane with everything going on and dealt with it in different ways, you know.
And we've heard that you died for 2 minutes in LA. Was it true or was it the media? Or was it invented?
No, it was true.
It was true.
My heart stopped for 2 minutes, yeah.
And what about your health now? Is okay?
I think it happened quite a few times. It's just I wasn't aware of it. But yeah, my health is very good today, thank you.
Okay, great. What about LA? You still living in Los Angeles now?
No, I've just moved to New York.
Moved to New York, but you're not going back to England. So how does it is for you to work?
We've actually been working in England for about the last, 15 months, pretty much. We spent 6 weeks in New York making the record, but the rest of the time we've been pretty much in
Dave's
London.
been living in a hotel, I'm afraid, most of last year.
Everyone seems to be making a big deal out of the fact that we live in different places, but the world's a small place these days. New York isn't that far.
How do you work? Because I have so many documentary of Depeche Mode, and especially of you, Martin, working on computer. Do you still working in that way, lots with computer? How do you manage technology now? Because we are living in a big world of samplers and sampling. So how do you feel now?
Well, I have a studio at home, and when I'm writing songs, I usually start on guitar or maybe at a piano, just to get the basic song down, to make sure that you don't get taken away by the technology and confuse yourself and think you've got a really good song when it's not a good song at all. So I'll usually start doing that and then move on to working with computers and samplers and synthesizers.
When you're
So it's also quite strange at the moment because we've been going around Europe doing lots of interviews, and everyone's telling us that electronic music is back.
Yes, sure.
It's very hard for us to accept that it's back because we never saw it go.
The thing is, it never really went away, or I don't think it really affects us that much. We just do the best we can with the limitations that we have.
It's just funny because journalists now sort of treat us as being the kings of the whole movement and the grandfathers of the whole electronic music. But we've spent the last 15 years defending ourselves in interviews all over Europe and America, whatever. So it's very strange for us. It's quite a good position to be in, though.
But when you are listening to bands such as Prodigy, maybe, or Chemical Brothers,
oh yeah,
or even those Nine, don't you think they've stolen you something?
There's actually quite a lot of good French music.
I think pop music's all about
French
pop music's all about stealing ideas. I don't think there's any original ideas anymore.
You mean that we are recycling all the time?
Yeah.
We are recycling, and we are going to enter a new.
There's a it's a creative process where you can, you I think subconsciously you take influences from other things and you kind of reinvent it yourself and you put your own stamp on it. I think Depeche Mode has been very good at doing that. We've managed to kind of create our own niche, and we've reinvented ourselves many times, really.
Without the envy of maybe making a solo career for all of you, you still have the envy of being a band.
I don't think there's been much time to do a solo career. I mean, I know Martin and Alan have had small projects, but there hasn't been much time, really. I mean, this is what we're going to try and change, is to
One's enough.
to give ourselves
one project.
Yeah. One project's enough, really.
Sorry. We're just trying to give ourselves more time now to enjoy our life and not to sort of give ourselves too much to do as such.
Have you got the envy to make a world tour again, a big world tour? such as you did with Songs of Faith and Devotion?
No.
No. Not the same
Definitely
experience on
not.
stage?
Maybe never as big as that, but maybe next year, you know,
We have
we'll
no
do some
plans at the
concerts.
moment to tour.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be silly to repeat what we did before and expect it to be any different.
Playing your whole song on stage can be very...
No, it's
Well,
on
it's-
tour is fantastic. On the stage is fantastic. It's not a problem.
It's not to do with. I mean, if to answer to your question, live performance is really where I feel kind of most comfortable, singing live in front of an audience and get an immediate reaction. You know, you feel something working. You know, it's the recording process, although it's very creative in that way, and you're doing something new. It's a very slow process. You don't get an immediate reaction really until you've finished the album, and then even then it's very hard to have a perspective on, you know, whether you think it's good or not for a while.
And so with this album you want to break the rule that making an album, then touring, making an album, then touring.
It'd be nice to go back in the studio again, even, you know. I mean, it's... Yeah, we got to release more. We haven't released a record in 4 years. I mean, that's a long time.
I think it'd just be nice, you know, it'd be nice to like just put this record out and to, you know, and just enjoy it. And enjoy the fact that we finished it, that we completed a record together, and against kind of all odds, really, during the making of it and before, and you know, not kind of try and make too many plans for the future, you know, planning in the future, planning ahead all the time, you know, you're missing out on the moment.
Leaving something quite new, quite a new age of music. Do you think that we can leave the same explosion than the 80s of electronic music songs again?
Well, you know, it's at the moment it looks that way. It looks like electronic music is becoming more popular, but I guarantee within 3 or 4 years it'll be back to guitar music. I mean, this is the way it goes. At the end of the day, you just got to be true to yourself and try and make music which you like.
I think too much emphasis is based on, like, you know, the instrumentation of like what you do. You know, it's just a feeling. You know, it's an emotion from yourself. You know, it's like what you do.
I mean, Oasis just released a great record that sounds 60s record, retro almost. Yeah, but it's brilliant. You know, it's a great track, and there's no electronics in that.
That's true. But you were talking about feelings, Dave, which is very on the brand new album. Your voice seems to have changed in a way. You are much more playing with the ambience of your voice. Did you make this record? Did you record the voice on the first track? You want to catch the feeling on the first track,
Tape.
First take. Thank you very much, Mark.
I worked for a long while with a vocal coach, and I hadn't done that for a long while. I'd done that since we began. I didn't even do it properly then, and I found that what I learned was that my voice is an instrument, and it needs to be. It's something that you need to practice at to get better, and you never stop learning, really. And your limitations are only based on where you set them, really. You know, you can constantly improve yourself, and I found that to be very kind of fulfilling during the last 6 months of making of the album. That all the work that I did was paying off. I gained a lot of confidence for myself as a singer, and you know, felt like I was really contributing something musically to the sound of Depeche Mode, which is very fulfilling, you know.
Because on Barrel of Gun, your voice seems to be completely different on the first single. It's not the same, but when we are listening the entire album, we are close to the whole Depeche Mode in a way, the Depeche Mode that we know. So it means that maybe the lyrics, between the lyrics and the music,
you know, the mood and the atmosphere of a song dictates very much like what I want to do. I actually prefer singing more ballads, really, nowadays.
Such as Condemnation, maybe?
Yeah, Condemnation, Sister of Night, Lovely. I just find there's a lot more emotion in it, you know. Find it does something to me emotionally a lot more.
Also, it's nice with music more minimal as well.
I don't like
the vocals.
Space, I don't space in the music.
More space for the Dave's voice.
I like the naivety of it, and I like it when it sounds vulnerable. I don't like it when it sounds too produced, because it takes away any of the emotion for me.
I'd like to know for the last question, compared to the 80s, you know, in England, where there's a kind of a battle of the charts, because your single, if it's not released in 1 week, he's dead. So what do you think about the battle of the charts? I mean, you have to put a single, if he's not on the charts in 1 week, he's dead.
Charts, you know, you have to forget about charts. I mean, they don't mean a thing, really. It's just a big ego thing for us, or whatever.
To be honest, I think
you just got to make the music as good as possible.
Success for me is finishing the record, you know, and then it's out of our hands. It's all about, you know, you become a sales, you know, you become a box of cornflakes, you know.
It is called Depeche Mode Ultra.
We're
it is a product.
You become a product. You know.
Naming Ultra, it means that a real Depeche Mode? What do you mean by naming your new album Ultra?
The new super slimmed down improved version. Of course.
Ultra.
Ultra slim.
Ultra slim.
Yeah.